So it looks like I have some company that wants to help me with my review. What are you guys doing? Hi. You should not be out here in the road like this. Hey guys, self-medicated wreck here. Well, I thought today what I would do is give you all a 3-year review on our hideout. It's been a while since I've done anything about this, and thought you might be interested in knowing just how it's been holding up over the last 3 years, what has been good about it, what problems we may have had with it, and just overall our impressions of it so far. I say it's a 3-year review because we bought it in 2020. It's a 2021 hideout, and right now it's 2023. First things first, I'm just going to give you a big, broad overview. This is what it looks like, and then I'll do a bumper-to-bumper review, or maybe I should say a hitch-to-bumper review, and go into detail. So it looks like I have some company that wants to help me with my review. What are you guys doing? Hi. You should not be out here in the road like this. Let's go over here. Goodness, you guys are my buddies, huh? Well, this is making it fun. So I'll say first off that maybe, it's not the best looking camper that you can buy. It's basically a box on wheels, and it's in terms of build quality, I would say this is in the middle. It's not going to be your upper end build quality, and it's not the cheapest you can buy. It's pretty much in the middle, and I think it's overall a good value for what you get. Honey, what do you want? Yes, I know, you're so cute. And your hubby is very handsome too. Okay, so let's, with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and start at the very beginning. Here, we've got, we upgraded it to this larger propane tank. I've got 2 6-volt golf car batteries on it. And so far, after using it for this much time, we go through about $10 worth of propane a year, and that is not too bad. It's very, and we do use the furnace. I mean, we live in Idaho, so we have cold nights, and we run the furnace, we run the gas stove, run the hot water heater, and even with that, it's I've never run this tank all the way out. I've had it topped off, and like I said, I've spent about $10 a year. Batteries, same thing. We never get below, so there's 4 little lights that tell you the full charge of the battery. We have gone out for 4 or 5 days with this thing, and we've never gotten below 3 of those red lights. So the 2 6-volt system of batteries has worked out really well for us. We have this stabilizer system on here, and I'll have to write in the description of this video what the name of that stabilizer system is. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. When these bars are in place, when you're traveling down the highway, it's great. It really adds stability to towing. You don't feel any sway or bounce or anything. It really feels good and solid and safe, but you cannot go around tight corners. Like, as soon as you get to where you're getting ready to make some turns, you have to take them off because they are kind of a pain. So I'm glad that I have them for traveling, at highway speeds. But like I said, they're a pain when you're going around town, around the neighborhood, or into your camping spots. Okay, so what else is there to say about the tongue? Not a whole lot. Hitch works fine. Jack works fine. One time I accidentally pulled on the emergency brake here, and it does lock up the wheel. All right, one thing that I read about these Lippert frames is that the welds can sometimes develop cracks in them, and so I've really kept a close eye on that, and the welds are all fine everywhere around the whole entire frame. There's been no trouble with the welds at all, so that's good. I apologize, this thing is kind of dirty. We did just get back from camping in it, and I haven't cleaned it up yet. Okay, so have we had any problems in the front end here? Well, not really with the camper itself, but I had a little trouble with the dealer. So when we first were buying this, the whole front of it was dinged up with hailstone damage. And they gave us a discount on the trailer for that, and also promised to replace that whole front panel. And they did, but this was kind of during the whole COVID shenanigans, and it took a long time for them to get the metal in. So it was probably 9 months before we got that replaced, and it was at the dealership for probably close to 2 months. Fortunately, it was during the winter, so it didn't interfere with our camping at all. But the dealer replaced this front panel, and on the very next trip out, this seam right here separated, and there was a huge gap, and I had to take it back to the dealer and get them to fix that, which they did, and that was no problem. But it was kind of concerning to me that could separate that easily, and really when it was apart I could see how it was put together, and it's just it's stapled together, so that's what you get. So walking around to this side of the camper here, we've got storage, a little clip right here to hold your storage box open. There's a camera bracket here, which we don't use. This is where I store my supplies that I'm going to need. On this side is kind of my garage for, those things broke. I store my dump tank things and just some of the things I'm going to need. The electric adapter. Here's the hitch bars that I was talking about that I have a love-hate relationship with. E2 Hitch round bar is what these are. So, garage, that's it. This is a 3-season trailer. It has single pane windows, and like I said, we live in Idaho, and it's been fine for us for 3 seasons. We camp spring, fall, and summer, and it's been no problem. There's enough insulation in this thing that it does allow us to be able to run the heat a little bit and stay warm, and to, if we're in hookups or if we're in a campground where we have hookups, we can run the air conditioning if it's super hot in the summer. Having said that, we camp probably 80% of the time by boondocking. So we camp off grid, dry camping, boondocking, whatever you want to call it. We do that about 80% of the time, and we camp in campgrounds about 20% of the time, I would say. And we doing that, we can spend about 3 to 3.5 days out with the water supply and the battery supply and the gray tank and black tank capacity. So like I said, the battery supply does not limit us, or it has not limited us so far. The main limiting factor to how long we can stay out in this thing is the black water tank. So we get about 3.5 days or 4 days before we need to go and dump that. It's got a 26-gallon freshwater tank, I believe, and that lasts us a good 3 days easily. We're semi-conservative with water use, and then I usually bring along 2 6-gallon water tanks with me to resupply if we need, and then all we really need to do is just find a place to dump the black water tank. We do have city water connection on this side. There's the air conditioning vent unit. There's the refrigerator vent unit down there. There's the vent for the propane stove, and of course electrical connection here. Black water, gray water tank dump there. Low water drains down there. What do I say about the wheels and tires? What do you want to know? Leave me a question in the comments if there's something you want to know. I repack the bearings every year just to be sure. All right, going back to the rear bumper, the end caps fell off pretty much on our way home. Those end caps got lost immediately. I replaced them once and then I gave up. Coming around the back, spare tire. Again, this cap is missing. Hot water heater. Okay, let me tell you about the hot water heater. It's a 6-gallon heater. It works great in terms of heating up water quickly. 6 gallons has been fine as far as capacity, for taking quick showers and washing dishes and all of that. No problem. But here's the thing. The past 2 winters, when I have de-winterized this thing and been ready to go with it, the igniter has not worked. So let me tell you about that. The last year when I took it out of storage, tried to ignite the hot water heater. It went through a cycle of 3 attempts and it didn't work, and then a red light came on inside and it just refused to ignite. So I took it to I tried to find a solution online and I could not find one for this particular model. So I took it back to the dealer, and a few $100s later, I got it back and it worked again. This year I took it out of storage and same thing happened, but I was able to call Good Sam, and a guy walked me through what to do about this thing. And I want to tell you what happened. There's a long distance between this propane tank up front and the water heater in the back. And when you first try to light this thing at the beginning of the year, you've got a lot of air in here and it won't ignite because it takes a long time for that gas to reach the back. So it tries 3 times to ignite, and then when it doesn't work, it just goes into a safety shutdown mode, and then it doesn't work anymore. Now, let me show you what to do about that. If you open this hatch here, here's your water heater. There's a reset button right here. Now, there's normally a rubber cap right here. And so last year I tried, pressing on that reset button and nothing happened. It didn't fix the problem, and that's why I thought the igniter is probably burned out. This year when I got on the phone with the guy at Good Sam, he told me to take that rubber plug off and actually push that button there, depress it all the way, and that rubber cap, you're pushing on it, but it's not actually pushing that button. So once I pushed that button, and I had to go through this a couple of times where I pushed the reset, tried to ignite it, it didn't work, and then finally, I think on the 3rd time, gas had gotten back here and it ignited and worked. What I would do next year probably is vent everything inside, open it up, turn on the gas for a little while on the stove. I mean, I'll turn the stove on, but get some gas flowing in there before trying to ignite this to get gas to reach back there. So hopefully that's helpful to somebody. All right, freshwater connection, that's where you fill up your water tanks. We got an awning up here. The awning has worked fine. We've got electrical outlet right here. I don't think we've ever used that. Dog leash and bottle opener. Again, a couple of single pane windows on this side and another garage over here. So the storage goes all the way through. Here's where we keep chairs, an awning, a little rug, things like that, hammocks. We store all that stuff up here. Another camera mount, which we don't use, and it does have a solar connection, which we don't use, haven't needed to. All right, let's go on inside. The doors, have that feature where the hinges, I don't know what you call this, but the hinges are made to be kind of stiff so that the door doesn't blow around. And then you've got these steps here that fold out and are a solid step feature where they just rest firmly on the ground. So that's really nice, not to have stairs that are just hanging off the edge of the camper. I think pretty much everybody's doing this now. So they're good and solid. All right, let's go on inside and maybe we can escape some of this airplane and vehicle sound. So I'll give you a look around here. Shut this door, turn on some lights, let the camera adjust. So when you first walk in, we've got an RV queen size bed, which is pretty nice. And we have a foam topper, memory foam topper on that. On either side of the bed, you have a little nightstand and 2 USB ports here for charging your cell phone, and a small closet on each side. And that small closet has plenty of room to hang, I would say a good week's worth of clothes for sure in there. So I usually just stack up some t-shirts and shorts and things, and then hang up if I've got jeans or jackets or sweatshirts there. You've got this kind of faux wood panel in the front that looks really nice. It's holding up well. LED lights, smoke detector. All of the lights come on with one switch. You've got air conditioning here, storage cabinets, microwave. The cabinets have held up really well. There's no nicks or dings or scratches. Some nice trim around the windows and doors. Again, single pane windows and with screens. Let's see, how does this work? I can't remember. The screen door can open independent of the solid door can open independent of the screen door. So if it's hot outside and you just want to have the screen open for some airflow, you've got that option. It is currently cold outside, so I'm going to do that. If you could see me, you would see that you can see my breath in here. Even though it's spring, it's really cold. Here you've got your awning extension, lights for indoors, and then there's LED lights on the awning as well, and that's your control for that. Storage over here, dinette on the road side of the camper, and there is storage underneath this bench, so you have to take those cushions off, and then there's a little plywood panel that you can pick up and store things under there. We don't have too much under there. I think a broom and our trash can. Underneath this seat is your water tank and water pump. There is also storage underneath this bed. You do have to lift up the mattress and then lift up a piece of plywood to get to that under there. So it's obviously, it's not something that you want to, you don't want to store things under there that you're going to have to access all the time. My wife has hung up a lot of pictures on the wall, this clock, various things, a hat hook over here for me. She did that when we first bought this camper, with command strips, and even through hot and cold and everything, none of this stuff has ever fallen off. It's pretty amazing to me. So coming over here, we have a 3-way refrigerator. We haven't had any trouble with that. There's an ice maker in there. Now, I will say about this refrigerator that it keeps things cold, but it will not cool things off. So I normally put a jug of solid ice in here. I'll take a gallon jug, fill it up with water, freeze it, and then put it in here a day or so before we're getting ready to head out, or the day before we're getting ready to head out, rather. And then it helps cool down the refrigerator. And then after that, it keeps everything cold. Have had no problem with the water pump, anything like that. 2-burner propane stove, have had no problem with that. Nice little backsplash there that looks nice. Vent fan, microwave, no problem with that. Carbon monoxide detector is down here. And this is your fuse panel. Now, this is worth the price of this video right here, because this thing, it took me a long time to find out where the fuse panel was on this thing. And the dealer couldn't even tell me, which was crazy. But I did blow a fuse dewinterizing it a few days ago. I was running the water pump too much and it blew a fuse. So if you've got one of these campers, to access this fuse panel, you just push, this comes down, and there's all your fuses and breakers. So that is something that is good to know. Looking inside these here, my wife has put a couple of baskets in here. We store cups and plates, things like that in there. Over here, this is kind of our tea and coffee area. And here's our bathroom. Let me shut this fan off. The fan is a bit noisy. The lights in here don't run by the switch out front. You have to turn those on manually. It's a huge bathroom. This thing runs the whole width of the trailer. And you've got a shower over here. I'm sorry, it's hard to capture all of this in one shot. I'm just filming with my phone. Toilet here, works fine, no problems. Sink, mirror. My wife has put up little hooks here, again with command strips, to hang towels on. Those have worked great. Generous storage area underneath here. Again, these cabinets have held up surprisingly well. I mean, nothing has gotten loose. Nothing has gotten scratched or nicked or chipped. Here you've got your control center, monitoring center. So water pump, activation, water heater, which I'm not going to turn on right now, battery capacity. Again, we have never gotten down to below 3 lights on that, even with 3 or 4 days out. Fresh water, black water, gray water. Thermostat, that controls your furnace only, not the air conditioning. The air conditioning just runs separate. And even with this being a 3-season camper, the furnace will flat out boil you out of here. It's nice and warm. I got cable connections there, another electrical outlet. We've never used any of that, so I don't know if it works. And then in these cabinets, we have storage. We normally put our food in here, dry good food that we're going to be using while we're gone. And again, you look at the edges. I really would have expected that for as much as we use this, these things would have gotten beat up and dented and nicked and everything, because it's just cheap RV stuff, but they have held up great. And let me tell you guys, we use this camper. This is not just something that we bought and put in storage. My wife and I use this thing a lot. So what else can I tell you about in here? I don't know. I think I'm running out of things to mention. It's a small camper. The box itself is 17 feet long. Overall, do we have any regrets about this? No, we don't have any regrets about it. We have loved this thing. We use it a lot. No buyer's remorse whatsoever. Would I buy this model and make again? Yes, I absolutely would. It's been fantastic. For two people, it works great. One time we set this up as a bed, and our adult daughter came camping with us, and she slept on that bed. And she's fairly small. She's in her 20s, but she was able to sleep on there just fine. But it's small in here. It's not a thing. I wouldn't want to take 3 or 4 people in here for very long. For a night, it's fine. But for my wife and me, this thing has just been the perfect camper. So the problems that we have encountered: a blown fuse for me running the water pump too long, the igniter on the hot water heater, which actually did not turn out to be the igniter, but it turned out to be a problem with the gas just not being able to go back there before the 3 attempts to start. It went through that cycle. And the metal panel on the front that came separated after the dealer replaced that hail damaged metal. Otherwise, we've had no problems at all. Okay, here's another light underneath here. This one is one that operates manually also. And I guess I can show you how we use these drawers here. So there's 2 drawers up underneath the stove. And in this one, we have it set up with silverware. Looks like some things got jostled a bit during our ride, but we got silverware and our Tabasco sauce, scissors, and lighters there. And then in this drawer, Ziploc bags, sponges, and a few sundries like that. I'm trying to think how long we have. I'll let you look inside this refrigerator here too. So that's the fridge. Small freezer right here. It keeps things frozen. I wouldn't say that it would freeze anything though. Again, it's a 3-way refrigerator that runs, it can either run off of your shore power electricity, it can run off of propane, or it can run off of the battery, and it just chooses which one it should run off of. And we've had no problems with that thing. So we normally use this camper about, I would say our average trip is 3 to 4 days. We've probably taken it out at a maximum of 7 days in a row. And we've just really enjoyed it. So guys, that's a look after 3 years of using our camper at how it's held up, what problems we've had, and overall our satisfaction with it. And that's been good. We've had a really good overall satisfaction with this thing. And I hope that's helpful to you if you're considering buying one of these things, that it might influence your decision one way or the other. At the risk of just repeating myself, we use this a lot, and with our jobs, we are very fortunate to have a lot of time off in the summertime, and so we're able to take off and use it pretty regularly. And pretty much anytime we get a 3-day weekend, we will hitch it up and just go somewhere with it. And we don't camp in just paved campgrounds. Like I said, we live in Idaho. There's a lot of public land here. There's a lot of BLM land. There's a lot of dispersed camping, free camping, Forest Service roads, beautiful places. Very often those roads are rugged. And even though this is not a off-road style camper, we take it off road. We really do. We take it on some gnarly. We have taken it into some gnarly places, and a couple of places where I was getting a little bit nervous and regretting a little bit because it was kind of rough and steep and a little sketchy. But we haven't had any problems. We haven't bottomed it out. As long as you take those stabilizer bars off when you're going into a place like that, it's been fine. So my point is that even traveling down some rough roads, Forest Service roads and things like that, and not sticking strictly to the pavement, nothing has rattled apart on this. There's been no seams that have come loose. Everything still seems to be nice and tight with no problems. And we are able to go about 4 days with the limiting factor being the blackwater tank. And I guess the freshwater tank too, except for, like I said, I bring an extra 12 gallons of water with us when we go. So I hope this is helpful to you. If it is, I'll go through the standard, give it a like and a thumbs up there, and check out some of my other videos and see what you think about my channel. And if you like outdoor recreation things, camping, hiking, fly fishing, that's what I try to do on this channel. And it'd be awesome if you would consider subscribing to it. And if there's anything else that you want to know about this camper, feel free to ask me in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer those questions and share some more of our adventures with you in it. So thanks for watching this video, and again, I hope it was helpful to you. Self-medicated wreck out.